It probably feels like just yesterday that Rally Islas Canarias ended, and the day before that, the Rally Croatia ended. But we have 3 WRC events in 4 weeks. Let's sit down and let's talk Rally Portugal. And the entry list for Vodafone Rally de Portugal for 2026 is as follows. With the Rally 1 field, we go in championship order. So that means that Elfyn Evans will open up the road, followed by Takamoto Katsuta. He's then followed by Sami Pyrie, who's followed by Oliver Solberg. Then it's Adrien Fourmeau, Seb Ogier, Thierry Neuville, and then after that we have John Armstrong, Danny Sordo, Josh McAlean, and returning for the first time since Sweden, we have Martin Sesks. That means we have 11 Rally 1 cars, which is going to be really lovely to have. It could mean that we don't see a Rally 2 car in the top 10, though given what's been happening in recent years in Portugal, I would probably wager that the top Rally 2 car could be as high as 5th. As for the Rally 2 cars, we've got Rupa Korinen, Johan Russell with the first Lancia gravel debut for WRC2 this time around. Robert Verveer, Roberto Dapra, Nikolai Gryshin, Gruss Greensmith. We've got Teemu Suninen, who was in Rally Sierra Morena a couple of weeks back in the European Rally Championship. Faz Aldevar, Andreas Mikkelsen, Eric Cameli, Alejandro Cachon, who gave a brilliant run to Rossell. Giovanni Trentin, Matteo Chatillon, Romer Jurgensen, Jan Solens, Mille Johansson, Yuki Yamamoto, Pablo Sarrazin, Elliot Delacour, Tristan Charpentier, who's stepped up alongside the likes of Chatillon from WRC3 and Rally 3 machinery, Alejandro Mauro, Harry Bates, who's come over with a tribute livery to Neil Bates's Toyota Corolla, Amindo Araujo for the local cohort, Jose Pedro Fontes in a locally entered Lancia. Forgot to mention, Pablo Sarrazin is also going to be behind the wheel of a Lancia. Farhan Jubani, Ricardo Teodosio for a Citroen C3 for the local driver, and then we have a lot more for the local entry list. Usually in other years, what we've seen is drivers entered for the Portuguese Championship only really compete the Friday and the Saturday. Thursday, in addition to that, this year, we'll get onto that talking about the itinerary. But some of them will stick around for the Sunday as well, especially if they're entered for WRC 2 points, which many of them are. We then have Pedro Mireles, Ruben Rodriguez, Gonzalo Henriquez, Pedro Almeida, Diogo Marujo, Hugo Lopez, Paulo Neto, Diogo Salvi, who last year was here behind the wheel of a Rally 1 Puma, Ricardo Felipe, Bernhard Ten Brink, Adrian Mosca, and I believe with this we're now getting back into your WRC2 regulars, because we will then have Miguel Granados, Thiago Silva, Uiga Soyu, who we've seen in Rally 3 cars before, and then it's rounded out by Yugen Karagui and Jorge Martinez. And as for Rally 3s, they are led by the likes of Matteo Fontana, Eric Royer, Nathaniel Brun, Andre Martinez, Jarko Nikara, Kalle Karlberg, Ali Turkan, Levi Lassila, Gil Membrado, Raul Hernandez, Karim Kazaz, Craig Rahil, Oscar Raul. Oh, sorry, I've just gone back into the Rally 2s there, because I was too focused on trying to remember which one of these are WRC3, which one of these are just JWRC, and which one of these are both. So the ones who are doing both are the likes of Turkan, Membrado, Hernandez, and Kazaz. Then you have Karlberg, Lassila, and Rahil in the JWRC. The remainder just doing WRC3 this season. Remember, Gil Membrado is currently the championship leader in the WRC3. Yeah, the entry list is rounded out by the likes of Oscar Raul, Hugues Lapuy, Sylvain Tamissier, Helder Miranda, and Pierre Leonardo Boncha. And as for the stages, it's an early start this time around. Shakedown is on a Wednesday, followed by Thursday, 3 tests. Then we have 7 on the Friday, 9 on the Saturday, and 4 on the Sunday. A total of nearly 345 competitive kilometres. And it all starts off with the Baltar Shakedown. Unchanged from previous years. It's run 3 times on the Wednesday, and it has a spectator-friendly arena and will make up part of the wider Paredes test on the Saturday. And as for the Thursday stages, we start off with Agreda Seva. This test was last run in the WRC in 2025, but before that, it had hosted the service park and refueling areas at the Pista de Rallycross. So we end up with a little rallycross circuit rounding out this test. And yeah, it was stage 10 last year. It's unchanged. Stage 2 is the Seva Albugaria test. That also appeared last year, and prior to that, its last appearance was in 1999. Again, unchanged from its 2025 appearance. The third Thursday test is Figueira da Foz, which is slightly different this year. It still has the donuts in the car park, albeit in the other direction, and it will take a longer run along the seafront. As for the Friday, it will be opened up with the Motagua test in both loops. That is 14.5 kilometres. It is unchanged from last year, and it has been a staple of Rally Portugal, well, since it was reintroduced in 2020. It had previously run in that infamous 2001 edition. As for the next one's the loops, well, sort of, because it ends up being weirdly structured the day. We end up with some of the stages coming in very close together. We have Arganil, stages 5 and 7. 18.6 kilometres. It's not the beast that Arganil once was, but it is the consistent kind of Arganil that we've seen since the return of Rally Portugal to this particular run in 2019. It's just run in the opposite direction this year. Stages 6 and 9 will be Lusa, and that has a famous name because it used to be the final stage of Rally Portugal. However, it takes its route from the Candosa test, which was the penultimate stage in the early editions of Rally Portugal. Those were 6.7 kilometres. This one's a bit longer because now it starts on the tarmac. It's 7.07 kilometres. And this is one of the things you need to think about with Portugal. Lots of the starts happen on tarmac. The reason being because of the soft gravel and sand, meaning that it ruts a lot easier. And speaking of, we got one more test that is quite well known for similar kinds of things. It's a Goyas test, which is run in the opposite direction from previous years, and it makes up 15.66 kilometers. That makes up Friday's test because it sits in the middle of the afternoon loop. Just one run of this stage, and then we get into the long day in Saturday. Like I said, 9 stages for the Saturday, and it's some iconic stages from Rally Portugal's past as well. Felgueiras will open it up. It is 8.81 kilometres. It is featured as part of the Sundays before and the Saturdays before in Rally Portugal, and it's unchanged again. Spectator-friendly areas towards the start, a lovely little viewing area as well in the middle of the stage, and you get some nice weaving parts towards the end of it. Cabeceiras de Basto is a 19.91 kilometre test. We've seen it the past couple of editions as well. It's also been in the ERC for Rally Serras de Faf, which means if you're looking for the ERC finale, keep an eye out for a stage like this. 19.91 kilometres means that it is unchanged from previous editions. Amarante, another iconic Portuguese gravel test, 26.24 kilometres. That means that it's going to be slightly longer than the additions that we've seen last year, and it's mostly added at the start. It's pretty much a shortened version of what we saw in 2024, because this was the start point in 24 with a finish point of 2025. The Predis test will end both loops in theory, because we've got another test on the Saturday, but it is the bits that were part of the Baltar Shakedown with additional parts on it. We've seen this the last couple of years in the WRC. It's a really lovely test. You get to see lots of starting and stopping. You get to see that little arena section to round out the stage as well. And as for the final test on the Saturday, it's Lusada. Now, remember, Lusada did get a bit of a change when the World RX made its return here last year. So it's not the kind of one that you've seen in WRC games or in Richard Burns Rally. It's a bit wider now, and the hairpin goes down a bit further as well. So that means that it's now a 3.78 kilometre test instead of the 3.36 kilometre test that it used to be. We've also got an additional donut this year. That'll be fun. And as for the Sunday, we will have Vieira do Minho, which has been on the various different days of Rally Portugal in recent years. 21.6 kilometres, so it is longer than last year's edition. It just means that we are back more or less to the 2023 edition. Or it's an identical one to 2022. So there we have it for that one. But the final one, perhaps it's uncontroversial. Perhaps it's also been unchanged for a number of years in the WRC, and it's perhaps the most iconic stage of the rally, one of the most iconic jumps in rallying, up there with Onimpoya. Faff. We've all seen the Group B cars going over that jump. We've all seen Colin McRae going over that jump. You have, well, the evidence on your screen from the EA Sports WRC as well. It is, quite simply, what most people think of when they think Rally Portugal. But let's think back to last year for a moment, and it was Seb Ogier who took the win over Oyt Tanak at the last minute. What was it, a puncher last year, from what I remember? Carlo Rivera was 12.2 behind Ogier, and Nerville 38.5 back. Katsuta rounded out the top 5, just about clear of Elfyn Evans in 6th. And as for the WRC2, it was Oliver Solberg from Johan Russell, with Gus Greensmith in 3rd, and the top 5 rounded out by Rupert Korhonen and Jan Solons. As for Rally 3, it was Taylor Gill who took it with a dominant display in the FIA Rally Star car as part of the JWRC as well, from Karim Kazaz. Then it was Max Smart 3rd, Nathaniel Brun 4th, and Yusuf Ralph Nugin 5th. Which means if we're to try and think about who are ones to watch over the course of this weekend, you've got to have Ogier in there. I'd say you have to put Neville in there as well. Like, there's no Oyt Tanak, but this Hyundai can be good here. I'd say put in Sordo as a wildcard. Like, this will be his second rally, but it will be his second rally in a row. It may be different surfaces, but Danny Sordo is a fast learner, and he's the Portuguese national champion, albeit in a Rally 2 car. I'd put some good money on Danny Sordo having a good weekend. As for the WRC2, I don't know. I would say Johan Russell. I'd say Russell versus Greensmith. They were separated by a minute at the end of last year, and yeah, it's hard to tell which way it would go. Greensmith's going to be trying to make up for what was some rotten luck towards the tail end of last season and the start of this season. He's also in the new car in the GR Yaris, which has proven to be one of the front runners of the class. I wouldn't be surprised if we have Fabia, Lancia and Toyota on the podium this time around. I just can't tell which way it's going to be. I would say that Greensmith can be competitive. Sinanen can be competitive as well, but he is also getting up to speed with the Yaris. Korhonen could be the lead Toyota, but I have a feeling that Russell's going to be there because he almost always is there. And as for the choice for the lead Fabio, part of me saying Vervej, But remember, Dapra won his home round in Sardinia last year, so I'm going to say Dapra. And as for WRC3 and JWRC, I'm going to pick Membrado. He's had a good run. And you know what? I'm going to double or nothing. I'm going to say him for WRC3 as well. Although someone like Fontana has got the stage wins in the Monte and has been consistently towards the top of Rally 3 categories. And Nathaniel Brun has been there or thereabouts for quite a while as well. But those are just my thoughts and feelings, folks. So let me know yours in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for watching and joining. Thank you for continued support. And till next time, it's bye for now.